This video is a guide for World 6 difficulty 1 of only free-to-play characters at low investment. I'm going to start off by talking about blessings because that's probably the most complex part about this. I think it's important to choose Path of the Hunt because otherwise you don't have enough damage. Since we're going Path of the Hunt, our highest priority is picking Hunt blessings. Of the 3 level 3, they're all quite good, but I think the best is Imperial Reign. So when you upgrade it, it does let you get up to 12 stacks of crit boost, which give you 72% crit rate and 144% crit damage. So just a lot of stats. The other 2 are also good. So if you pick these, they're also quite good. And I'd say all the Hunt blessings are they're just a lot of damage, generally speaking. So the only exceptions are these 2 blessings, which heal you, which you don't really need. And if you did want more survivability, I think going into preservation would be better. So on that same note, talking about abundance, I think generally speaking, shielding is better than healing for this fight, because if you let the fight drag on for too long, cocolia is just going to one-shot you. And your healing is not, even if you're at max, you're just gonna get one shot for the most part. There are some exceptions, like increasing defense or increasing max HP, that can be good. So these aren't bad. I just think generally speaking, preservation is a little bit better. I do like this one though a lot because this is just a lot of damage reduction. And Mudra Blessing, which is Dewdrop damage, is just a lot of freaking damage. Just 70% of your max HP every hit. It's just a lot of damage. But on that same vein, I think preservation is generally better for survivability. Also, the 2 crit rate and crit damage blessings for preservation are actually really good because you have like a 24/7 shield thanks to Fire Trailblazers. So these actually give more crit rate and crit damage than the corresponding ones on the Hunt, actually 50% more than them. So that's really nice. The cleanse, I think, from this one is also pretty good, though you have Natasha, so it's not nearly as good if you were running, say, Bailu, but it's still pretty nice. And macro segregation lets you stack shields, which can result in like hilariously big shields. And quake damage is just nice damage. So I would say these are kind of the 3 general sets of blessings I'd go for. And we're gonna get into the garbage now. So Remembrance is literally every single blessing here is useless because they all rely on you freezing cocolia. And from what I've seen, cocolia is 100% immune to freeze, and also the dissociation effect you can get from Remembrance, which is just a freeze more or less. The Nihility is not nearly as bad, and Night Beyond Pyre is actually, I think, very, very good. But all the other blessings pretty much just increase damage over time. And in phase 2, cocolia summons Bronya, who has a cleanse. So cocolia basically never takes damage from any damage over time. So a lot of these will be rendered pretty useless for phase 2, and phase 2 becomes really, really hard. So I don't recommend these. Destruction kind of has anti-synergy with the Hunt. So normally Fighting Spirit is very strong, but when you take the Hunt, you have a lot of speed. You're having a lot of action in advance. You have a lot of turns. Every turn you lose 4 stacks of Fighting Spirit. So Fighting Spirit gives you up to basically double your attack and defense, which can be really good, especially if you get the upgrade. But in this case, I think it's not nearly as good. And a lot of the other destruction blessings rely on you being either low HP, so for instance below 50%, or taking damage, like this one. You need to take damage to get stacks of Fighting Spirit. You need to be low HP to get this effect. It's all kind of the same thing. And you don't want to be low HP versus cocolia in phase 3 because she's going to one-bang you. So I think these are okay, but generally speaking, I'd rather just go the Hunt or the Preservation Blessing. This one is probably the best one, actually. This for a 1-star, just max HP, just very good. For Elation's kind of like Remembrance in that a lot of them literally do nothing because, 99% of the time, all of these blessings do nothing because nobody on the team has any follow-up attacks. The one exception, as always, is if you get Champion Zinner, Cat's Cradle, this turns your ultimates into follow-up attacks. Also gives you a nice 15 or 55% damage bump. And then all of these effects will apply to your ultimates, and then they're pretty decent, I think. But again, you only have Fire Trailblazer and Serval's ultimates that actually do damage. Asta and Natasha's don't. So it's only half your team, and generally speaking, I think you'd rather just get Hunt blessings, but they're not terrible if you can get Cat's Cradle. For Path Resonance with the Hunt, I think this is the best one, Bone Arrow, because it lets you pretty much instantly clear the ice edges that Cocolia summons. And then when you clear them with this, and then your residence instantly charges back, it's ready for the next wave. You basically just sail through phase 1, and phase 2 is a lot easier as well. But I also really like the other two. I think this one is nice because it lets you stack up charges and kind of do a similar kind of thing. Just doesn't have the damage increase, but it lets you stack up 2 charges, which can be nicer sometimes. And light hunting celestial arrow is just really fun, but since it gives you an extra turn, the stronger your characters are, the better this one is. Since we're kind of going a free-to-play level 50 Eidolon 0 builds, this one's not nearly as good, but I still took it because it's fun, or I still take it normally. I like to take curio at start, and generally speaking, something that improves your economy like gold coin or faith bond, society ticket is really nice. And stealing wax and hunt is probably the best one because it just lets you guide your entire build towards the hunt, which is really good. Shattered Starbait's nice because 10% action forward really synergizes well with the build we're going for, and Fortune Glue is nice, and these are also nice too. I wouldn't take fruit or cheese because generally speaking they're just not necessary and they're kind of like a wasted slot. If you have big cojones, you can go for the lotto, but generally speaking I don't take this because it just it typically is just worse because sometimes it just blows up without you getting anything, right? But even when I get a curio from it, a lot of times it's not super great. So its Space Time Prison is just nice. It's just you know, it's just Eidolons. it's pretty good.
Judgment of eternal winter.
But I want...
For phase 1, Cocolia will summon an Ice Edge if there isn't already one on the field. If Cocolia ever starts her turn with one already on the field, she'll freeze a character and get an infinitely stacking 10% damage buff. As long as you save your AoE for the Ice Edge, you should be able to end phase 1 of 0 stacks on Cocolia. For this specific run, I actually messed up and gave her an extra stack.
I
fucked up. I gave her a stack because I was trying to stall. In phase 2, Cocolia summons Bronya, who functions basically the same way she does as a playable character. When Bronya gets her turn, she'll cleanse any debuff from Cocolia, give her a damage buff of her own, and instantly pass the turn to Cocolia. In phase 2, in addition to summoning 2 Ice Edges, Cocolia can also channel a big AoE that, if you don't weakness break her in time, will do big damage. For phase 2, the goal is to focus Bronya while also keeping Cocolia's weakness break bar and her Ice Edges in check. Cocolia will still receive a 10% damage buff anytime one of their characters are frozen. Bronya is the main reason we need to go for a high damage build. While Bronya is on the field, it's basically impossible to prevent Cocolia from gaining stacks. Earlier in the run, I made the mistake of enhancing the cleanse blessing as opposed to more crit damage. Because I went for cleanse instead of more damage, Bronya gets her turn, and Cocolia gets an additional stack, which could have meant the end of the run.
What the hell am I doing?
Luckily, she was somehow only at 3 stacks. In phase 3, Cocolia summons a storm similar to Jing Yuan's Lightning Lord. It does AoE damage and can also freeze your units, giving Cocolia a stack. Phase 3 is basically just a damage race versus the Storm and Cocolia's stacks. Even though we started phase 3 with just 4 stacks, which is really low, at the end Cocolia had 15 stacks.
Stars will always remember us.
It worked out this time, but sometimes she one-shots me with just 12 stacks. But I guess that's what makes the fight fun.
Hi, the name's Asta.
Abby, I mean, my characters are not super well built, but obviously built well enough, so level 50 across the board, 4-star cones at 50, traces not maxed out, but I have the important stuff like the level 4 abilities basically I think are the most important. The stats would help a bit too, for sure, like, but not super crucial. Probably I should have got this one for Natasha, but yeah, and maybe like some of these would have been good too for a main character. Relics wise, I'm just using 4 stars across the board. My Natasha only has her flower level for HP and her this one, I don't know, it's called the coat for healing boost. I should have leveled this to 12, by the way, just to get the extra stat. And this one would have been good too, like, because Natasha got 1 shot at one point in one of the runs, so yeah, that would have helped a lot. This one probably not so much. Main character was running just defense, HP stuff, you know, so pretty standard. Because you want defense to make the shield bigger and to be tankier. My Asta's running my Zelo's artifacts, so they're pretty all right. Honestly, they're good. Just damage and She has this level 0 fire damage boost and level 7 energy regen rate. I did level this a bit for this. And my Serval is not using max stuff either. She's using a pretty similar set, just damage. Just damage with speed boots, which I think are nice. Lightning damage at 9, this one at 0. So pretty, not like super poverty, like not like poverty like living on the streets, more like poverty living in your mother's basement kind of thing. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. I do hope this was helpful in some kind of way. This is the strategy I use just in general for World 6, even with 5-star characters. So yeah, and it was a lot of fun to just play through it, I'd say.